enough if you're able to see my screen. Okay. So if I go back, so I think I was talking about JWT filter where we are doing this filterizing, and next we created the service. So where we'll do debug today. We'll see quickly how things are flowing. Here we are creating the token, all the logic, verifying the token, everything we have kept here. Some secret key we kept here. Now we need to give a provision to create a token that is pending. So we need to create something called post mapping, let's say. I would say generate token public when generate, basically, yeah, generate token. It needs some request body. That is nothing but our authentication request. So in authentication request, we can keep only username and password. So we can say auth request. In this auth request, we don't have any model. Let's create a model. Java class. This is purely to generate a token, nothing else. No other operation. Okay. One second. Auth request. So inside auth request, we will be having data. After why data is having show of the data. No, fine. After data is enough. I'd say private string username will bring private string password. Normal password will bring. We don't need to get anything else. So same auth request we can use inside controller auth request. Auth request. So inside auth request we will be okay. So now auth request will be having all the information. Here I need to authenticate. So to authenticate, we need to do the authentication first. Once we have authenticated, then only we should go for something else. To authenticate, we need authentication manager. So authentication manager, we need to keep it in our Spring security, user security config. Here we can create a bin. We can create a bin saying that our security. Security, 1 second. So on security, we should be having that particular portion of code where we need to declare our authentication manager. So let's say we create here something called public authentication manager, string some of authentication manager, passing inside authentication configuration, authentication configuration, passing configuration. Inside it's supposed to return configuration dot something called get authentication manager. Okay. this get authentication manager, so it is like exception. So this internally, if I go inside it, what it does, if I see the authentication configuration code, it simply take your username and password. It will simply validate whether user is authenticated or not. So authentication manager will be doing that job. So authentication manager, if you can see, authentication builder, it will say authentication delegator, config. This is the internal code though, but still here you can see all the username and password it will be getting down, and then it will be doing. So now let's come back. I will be auto wearing here inside controller. I will be auto wearing your authentication manager. Anyways, authentication manager I can auto wear. At the rate auto wear, I need to do authentication. Private authentication manager. Authentication manager. So authentication manager, I think we need. So in down, I need to do like this: authentication, principal code, authentication is equal to authentication manager dot authenticate. Inside that, we're supposed to pass that new user password authentication token. We can pass the auth request here. So whatever we have received the request, we can, not full. We have to, this is I think taking both username and password. Yes, this is taking object principal object credential. So auth request dot get username, comma auth request dot get password. So it will be taking every information. Then once we have every information here, so then we can say if authentication dot is authenticated. So it will be, if it is not a valid credential, it will throw an exception. You can throw that, else throw new user. I think it is already here. Username not found exception. Yeah. Then you can say invalid credential. If it is authenticated, then I should return. Okay, I need JWT service to be auto wear. JWT service that we have created, right? So I need to do auto wear that as well. So if I do auto wear private JWT service, JWT. Return JWT service dot generate token, passing the auth request dot get it. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. No more coding. Nothing. Okay. So this is it. This will help. So first, always we need to do this call. So to make sure while doing this call, right, we need to keep open this one. So I will keep open this guy, user / authentication. I will go to security config. I will allow permit all. I can give a comma. I can type another one / user / generate token. So this to call I will allow to do it. Now let me save it. Let me execute it. Okay, so before I go, any question guys? I know this is a little lengthy. What I did, I just tell a quick flow, then we'll go for implementation. So first, any request that is coming from your Postman or UI, Angular or whatever JavaScript, it will reach first to your user controller to add the new user. That is why if I go to user controller, my add new user is the first call to add a new user, correct, to database with the role, correct. Next is once we do that, once we complete that step, next is once we add new user, I have a username and password, encrypted password stored in the database. Fine. Next thing is I am supposed to generate the token. So once I will generate the token, I will send the request with my username and password, whatever I have sent earlier. So and I will send this to authentication manager. Authentication manager, the code is here. So authentication manager will try to authenticate whether the provided username password is valid or not. If it is valid, how it will do? Internal code they have written. If I go inside authenticate method, this is nothing but a interface. If I see the implementation, I think this is authentication provider, user controller. So sorry, here we are going authentication manager will be having authentication manager is getting called from here. How this is being used. After authentication manager, provide manager. So somewhere it will be having the implementation. Let me find out the implementation. So implementation should be somewhere remote authentication. No, not this one. So authentication provider. No, not that one. So authentication manager we have configured there as well. Authentication manager, you can see if we go to our security config also, there also we have configured, you can see that authentication manager we have configured, configuration.get authentication manager object, it will get it, and it will simply give you the authentication object. This authentication is nothing but other an interface. This is having is authenticated method. So abstract interface, all these things written authenticated. So these are a lot of code, internal code will be running. Like this sort of code will be running. If you go in details, you can see that how this validation. So after that, after this validation, it will give you whether you are authenticated. Username is authenticated. If username is authenticated, user validating the password, along with the password, it will validate from your database. It will go to user detail service and everything it will do. And after doing that, it will simply say, okay, let's generate the token. So once we go to the service, we have an entire code. It is going to create token. Create token is taking all the claims. It's anyways it's an empty map. Then subject, mostly username, the date time in millisecond, current date time, the issued time, and the expiration time will be setting maybe 30 minutes. So that's what we can do 5 minutes also. Sign with whatever my key that I have, secret key that I will be using. Secret key is being used here to get signed key, right? Here only I have done that, and that is my secret key, whatever secret key I have set it. So I will create a token. That's it. So this portion of code is to just to create the token. So my token has been created. Once this step is complete, next is I will try to access some other thing. For example, if I go to user config, I have some other portion as well, right? Let's say student, fetch all students. Let's say I have this post method, right? I simply say authenticated. So now if I simply go to their, for example, if I go to student controller, I wanted to say pre-authorize. I wanted to say pre-authorize, correct? So if I say pre-authorized, we can say like what else we want. Let's say pre-authorized, let's say I say has authority or in double quotes. As authority, let's say I wanted to say role, right? Role underscore admin. Correct? So like the, oh sorry, this has to go in whether it is role admin, then try to save the student, kind of that. So this sort of things, when we try to do, we need to send a token, BRS token every time. Now we will go and see how this entire process. So once we will recall, so where it will come first, any secure call with a token, it comes first to your filter. That's why we have created the filter. So any request comes will be captured in line number 30. If I put a breakpoint, any request comes that need authentication with the token. So first, at this point of time with the filter, it will try to validate you have sent a valid token or not. You can send any token, right? You can send any unauthenticated token, but you cannot allow to access. We need to validate, we need to intercept the request, something called intercept keyword. Intercept means in between you will try to put hand and try to check that whatever you have sent is accurate or not. So once we have the token received, you will extract the token, we'll send this to JWT service to extract the username, to extract the claims. From claims we are trying to find out, extract all claims. Here we are trying to see that we are trying to find out, is this already fine? We are trying to find out the username in the filter. Once I find out username, I will try to check whether this username is a valid username, passing to this load by username. Then it will go to my database and can do all this stuff, right? It will be simply checking everything. Once it completes everything, it will say, no, this is a valid user, we are good to go. Then we are allowed them to check their authorization. Obviously the role will be validated. Whatever role the user has, corresponding role will be authenticated and allowed to do certain operation. Let's say student controller here. We can do that operation, right? So, clear? Where it has authority, role admin. So that is something which we need to make sure that we are understanding. Okay, as of now, any doubt, please? I know this is complicated, we have to practice, but still, the explanation and everything.
It is confusing.
Yes, Shreya?
It is confusing, sir.
I know it is complicated. I know it will be, because unless you do debug yourself, you won't get that confidence, correct? As I mentioned, first we need to generate the token. So let's execute and see whether it is possible. Let me start the server first. Is there any error here at this level? Filter can define error treating with being name with security configuration. Set filter chain. Filter chain. Okay, so filter chain is throwing some exception. One second. Okay, so what is the error? Filter chain is throwing the error. Non-satisfied dependency. Okay. Filter chain. Okay, filter chain. Where is the filter chain? I have used here. Okay, so here only it is giving the exception. Filter chain method. Okay. Filter chain defined. Is it a class been installed via method failed? Failed to instantiate security protection method. No enum constant HTTP method generate token. Oh, okay. Maybe this is not liking. Okay. maybe it is one URL at a time. So let me copy this. Two URL I'm passing, right? So that is not right. I remove this from here. Okay, let's see. Because this is not like you print a copy comma separate. That's what I understood, right? The user dot generate token it is not able to understand. Let me start again. The application has started. So there is no other exception as of now. And I think previously table was got created. Now let me try to do certain operation for my postman. It's not my postman. This is guys need to practice a lot to get to know. You need to do debug so that you guys get the full idea that what is there and what is not. Okay, so let me share. Okay, so what is the details? 8083. What is the details? This is starting in 8083. Any okay, Spring Basic full. Now I go to user controller. First I try to save a user. Then I wanted to do add new user without any authentication. Okay, so this will be a post call, obviously. I'll change it to post. Authorization I don't need, I can want for now. Body I need to pass something, right? Request body user info. User info means username, password and email. I'll show my interview after 1 second. First is username, test, email, test at the rate gmail.com. Then password, test at the rate 160. And something called role in police, whatever it is, role in police. Let's say inside the role in police, we have a role in procedures. This here. Okay, let me share my. First, I will show my postman. So this is my URL, no doubt. No authentication. Authentication is blank, nothing. I'm not putting anything. It's a blank call. Blank call always be normal. Then this role name is this one. And fine. Clear about the JSON? Anyone has any question? I'll trigger. Let's see what happens. Let me trigger. Okay. So this is coming to filter. I don't want. I'll bring you over there in my intelligence. Anyways, I don't need authentication. Let's see here. And go to console. It is faster. So it is inserting to the respective table. data has been inserted. So I will go to my Postman. User data saved successfully without authentication. So now I will come back to code, or I will see my where it is. Where is my DB? Let me check. Just to check database one. It is in other factor. Oh, okay. Let me share my other screen. My sprint, how data has been saved. This is my user. Okay, I need to close. Find the local instance. Okay, so this is the username, and this is the encoded password being saved. Next, I will go to role, admin role, and mapping should be here. This is a mapping. Clear? So that means initial thing is fine. Now, let us do the next step to generate the token. So to generate the token, let me take you code. To generate the token means I supposed to go to. I'll do debug this time. Generate the token. So generate token is simply the post mapping. I will simply do the generate token. And I need to pass the auth request as well, request body. So I will go back. And auth request is simply having username and password. So it's very simple one. I will take you to Postman first, then I will. This is done. Now this is something. Get, let me change it to get. Params I will not use. Authorization, no authorization. Body, no. Here I will say use the name. This is password. I'll be using same, whatever username I have given. Let's check test. Password will be this one. This one is get called. Password, whatever, same password. Don't need to give encrypted one, normal password, username, password, you need to pass. Then what else? This is I need to say the URL. Spring basics user. Take the string exactly what is there. Then I token. I'll put a breakpoint there. I'll come. I'll click. I'll take you to debug. So you can see, first it will reach to disability filter. Any request comes. But in this case, it will skip because I ask for permit on. So it will not going to do any problem. See, it has directly reached to my controller because I have given permit on. Because this is a place where I will be generating my token. Now the request that has come with test and this. Next step, if I go. So it has been validated. See, something has happened in the background. What has happened? It has gone to the database, it has bring with the username, same select query has been executed, whatever we have written, internally it has done. Now this authentication object, if I check, see, authority is 1, you can see the admin has come, authenticated also true, because the username and password that I have sent is a valid one. It has checked with the database in background and could be able to find out everything is fine. And how this has checked? Definitely you have this code. Everything you have written, right? Every service you have written, it internally use that user info service where it taken the username, it has queried this line number 21, it has received, it has gone to user info details, it has populated all the authorities. That is why every operation has been done, obviously. That is why it could finally able to say me that yes, you are a valid user, you are authenticated or valid user. Now, if I say authenticated, next line, now it will go and generate the token. I will go and put a breakpoint here. Here. I will go to next line. It will come here. It will create the token. I will put a breakpoint back to controller one more time before I show. I will return directly here. So I will continue. So here it will be claims 0, username is test, time millisecond. You can see what is the time millisecond. You can everything you can evaluate. Right click and evaluate. You can simply see the current timestamp. Evaluate expression. So it will get the current timestamp. Then it will be going to next step. Then it will get the sign key, whatever sign key. It will together give you the token. The token will be created. Now if I go to next step, it is done. Don't need to go more. I'll simply pass. You see, this has been gone without any error. Now I will go back to my postman to see. Can you see? This is the token that has been generated. I need to use this. This is valid for 30 minutes because I have applied everything. This is having the current timestamp, current user, everything has been given. So I should take this token. From my next call onwards, I need to do this. Let's say I wanted to save data. I need to save the student data. For example, save student, right? This is what I have marked. Now, instead of basic auth, I will say DRR token. There's a token called DRR token. Okay. I will provide that token. I will copy from there. I will copy from here, or I will click on this, copy it. I will be coming to my post call. Here, I will simply paste it. That's it. This is a token. So going forward from UI, you need to capture this token from this call and to keep it forever till the time you will do any operation, any CRUD operation you want to do, or any controller you wanted to call. Instead of passing username password, you need to pass this authentication token, because authentication will be happening through JWT now. It's quite secure. Your username password is not required every time to send for every call, not needed. You only send me this token. I will get it everything from my phone. Now, if I go to body, I think it has all the data. I'll change it, maybe to whatever it is.
So this token would expire after some time, right?
30 minutes.
Yeah.
That you can define. 30 minutes, 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. Right now we have given 1000 is a millisecond. If you go to the code, you can already define that. You can manage that okay, when it should expire, when not. Or you can simply define. If I go to my service, JWT service, here I have that code, right? You can see this is 30 minutes, 30 into 60, right? It will convert to second, then multiply with 1000 to convert to millisecond. Everything you have to, now if you say that I need to give 5 hours, okay, 60 into 5, done. The 5 will convert it to 5 into 60 minutes. Again it will be multiplied with 60 convert to second. Again it will multiply with 1000 to convert to millisecond. So that means this token is valid for 5 hours. That means within 5 hours time span, if you use this token to do any operation, you are allowed. But mostly, in ideal cases, we give 30 minutes, 20 minutes max to max, not more than that. Yeah.
Sir, and then that generated token is for that specific user?
Yes. You can, for example, if you try to log in with another user, you are trying to use the same token, it will give you error. Every time you need to call this user controller, for example, every new user, you're supposed to call this to get a new token. Because you are passing the username, right? So corresponding username, you have to get a new token. Same token you cannot use, right? It is a complete violation. Correct? And now, let's say if I do that call, we'll see that how JWT filter that we have written comes to picture here in this moment. So I will go back to my postman, see how I am figuring the call. So this is my call that I am going to figure. This is the URL, and I will show you the pre-authorized. We already kept it. In the student controller, I kept pre-authorized, right? On save student on. I put a breakpoint. Okay. So now I'll simply start there. You will see very good. The moment I said, see, the first step, it reads to the filter. It is kind of interceptor. Every time it will intercept and request will land to JWT filter. In this case, you will see the authorization. Should be there. So authentication header, now can you see? Enter token has come. Bearer, space, the entire token. So I want to get only the token, remove the bearer. So if I go next, you can see the token initializing. Starts with bearer, yes, it is there. So I will get the token. I will substring it. I will get the token. So only token I receive now. I will validate whether this is a valid token for this user and it is not expired. So every validation I need to complete here. So that is why we are going to service again to extract the username. I put a big point here in the service. I will continue. You can see the token has come and the claim. Here also you have another method. Here you can see step-by-step approach. So here extract all claims. Here I am just extracting the now constructed. This is extracting. That time is we have generated. Now I will validate. I will get. Okay. So I will not go more deep. I will come back. Okay. Some error. Signed claim are not supported. JWS are not supported. Some error I have given unsupported JWT exception. It is coming from here. Part claim JWT. Some error has come. So while validating, it has given some exception. Parts claims JWT. Signed claim or not. Why exception? Copy this. Google. Check why this comes. Unsupported signed claim. Okay. We also want a single exception. Okay. It is asking. I suppose to use S instead of T. I suppose to use S. Okay. Fine. I will restart. I think I have in my application. It is asking I should not be using database. Okay. It is update. Forward. I can happily restart. I will do this process again from Postman. I will send. It will reach to here. I am going to this extracting token. I will come to here. I will go to next. I will let me go to console, clear console, see there is any error. Cool. This time is fine. This time it's good able to pass. Now I will be having inside claim. If I can see, this is a map. This is C. Subject line is test, which is nothing but a username. This is like this is nothing but IAT. IAT is nothing but issued at and expired. This is the timestamp. So all this is being claimed. All this is being extracted. So now extraction done. It will go back. It will say the username. So now username you got test. So you extract the username from the claim. Okay. So now next step is I supposed to continue to take security context if authentication is not none. Now I will go to user details. Directly I'll get the user details object from here. It is again go to the database. It has taken out everything, the password, everything, and I will now tokenize it. So here it is like it will simply check with the validate token. Again it will go to validate token. It will simply do this job. It will again go here. Extract username it will go. I'll remove breakpoint this time from this places. I'll remove it. So username has been extracted. Username equals, it will be again match. Now see where it has reached. Token has been validated. My token is correct. So it has reached to my controller to do the job. As it is pre-authorized, as it is authenticated, obviously it has to go through all this journey. Then it is able to successfully satisfy and it has landed to my controller. And I can, next step is already implemented, so I don't need to debug it because authentication is done. So I could able to save my data. Here, how the flow is. Everyone, please try to debug and understand. Don't just like sit and try to understand. I'm pushing this code, take the latest code and try to understand how this is working. Here, any question guys? I want everyone to explore this and implement for your project. Respectively, you can take now your project and try to implement JWT for your project. For whatever your final project you have done. Because whatever we will be doing going forward, we will apply the project that we have worked on as our final project. We will be doing that in your fashion. Clear? Yes, no, maybe.
So one question. Since AWS obviously is stateless, right? It's again like going to the database anyway, right? To check the username and.
It has to be.
So how I mean obviously in the base it also it will go to the database and authenticate, right? So
no, database it is going to validate. Validation should be there. Stateless means I am not remembering this token forever. You have to pass every time the token. I'm not saying you send me the token, I will remember the token for 30 minutes. No, I'm not saying that. Stateful is like that. I will remember this token forever. Every new call, you have to give me the token. For my now to validate from my application, I will go to database to check whether this user is valid or not. Correct? Getting it right? So
yes. So actually,
I'm not capturing this token, right? I'm not capturing token anywhere. Token you have to send every time. Every new call, you have to pass a new token. I mean, existing token only you need to pass. I cannot store anywhere, right?
Yeah, understood.
Okay, so now if you say that okay, instead of database, I can forward it to some other third party to validate. If it is a third, for example, if I try to log into Facebook take help from Gmail, right? Whether it's a valid Gmail ID or not. So how they forward? What they take from you the token and all. Most of the website, now you go to any website, you can go to, you press your F12 button, you can go to the header part, you will see that this token is going. It is not going username password every time. Token is going instead of that. Everywhere JWT token is the most secure, even OAuth 2. OAuth 2 and all is quite old now. It's kind of old architecture, old process. JWT and all is quite safe because it is going as an encrypted format. And if somebody try to twist also, changing some parameter or not, it will fail. Because it will simply, we have the extract mechanism. That's why it is a little complex to write those logic in service. Like in the service, if you see the JWT service, there we have writing some complex code to authenticate. They are providing this. this much of SHA and all. SHA is nothing but a encrypted and decrypted thing, right? Which is, it should be complicated. Its algorithm should be complicated because other than that, everybody can hack it. That is why JWT is kind of little more important, and nowadays almost every application you will see that JWT being implemented. And once Facebook you try to log in, it will get your username and password as a token. It will forward to Gmail. Instead of going to database, they will forward to Gmail, and that is Google. It will make validated into their database, Gmail database. Database Facebook is not maintaining. They're taking help from Google, right? So they will send to Google, they will validate into their database whether you are a valid user, whether you are not expired user. Everything we can validate from the database. We cannot remember it anywhere. Even if you are in cloud, even if you are there, some places we need to store all these information. We need to validate whether you are a valid user, your password not expired, you are not you have a proper authentication into Google also. Then only they will allow, and then only will allow to go to Facebook. Nowhere else. Validation has to be there. Likewise, we are doing the database operation, right?
And also, also one more thing I'm facing is with the security config. So it's not allowing us to perform those methods for Spring security config. In the security filter set.
It's the same, right?
I mean,
whatever I have done.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's not allowing those session.
Okay, show me your code. Okay, for others, please take the latest code from my branch.